spiritual food for thought.
Sometimes in modern Christianity, we wind up with these traditions that seem to be so unbiblical and, in fact, accomplish the opposite of what we're told in Scripture. I don't know where they all come from, but I'm going to use one as an example here. Hopefully it'll provide some good food for thought and be something that you guys can think about, maybe apply to your own lives, and maybe encourage others to consider as well. So I'm going to take a brief passage out of Matthew chapter 5 about hiding a candle under a bushel. Starting in verse 14, Matthew chapter 5, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Now, although it may not be the actual point of this passage, I think it's a good consideration to think about baptisms. Because when we have a baptism, you're having one of the earliest steps of obedience that a believer takes, as far as choosing to be baptized and declaring to not only the physical realm, but also the spiritual realm that they're making a choice and they're going to live for their Creator and Redeemer. They're choosing to align themselves, their thoughts, their lifestyle with Him and His ways. And what happens these days, at least in America, is a lot of times people build a special pool kind of even behind the pulpit of these church buildings, that if somebody wants to become or choose to be baptized, they baptize them there in front of the congregation. And to me, this is an opportunity to declare to the world whose side we're on, not just to the church. This is an opportunity to let some light shine and to expose the lost and dying world to somebody choosing to serve the one true living God who we're supposed to, be trying to reconcile this world through evangelism and, sharing the gospel. Yet, we kind of take that light and we hide it under a bushel. We tuck it away back in some corner of the church or maybe at somebody's house. Personally, I was baptized in an indoor pool at one of the elders of the church that I got married at. Since then, I've realized some things about baptism, and even if you think about the command, right? It says, go preach the gospel to, all creatures. It says, make disciples of all nations, and baptize them. So often, unless somebody's an ordained minister or a pastor or on some sort of board of elders, people don't even really think that people are qualified to baptize people. It's not about the baptizer. It's about the one being baptized and their Creator. So once I realized that, I said, wow, there was a man I met in the jail ministry, a close, dear brother of mine these days, and he wanted to be baptized. So the first thing we start doing is thinking about how do we fit this into some sort of, church function, some sort of, institutional church, planned out little Sunday, whatever, schedule. And a friend of mine challenged me and said, hey, what does this actually say? And I'm like, wow, you're right. Because when we first entered the faith, we realized, hey, preach the gospel to every living creature. Sure. So we went out and did it. And then we're like, oh, make disciples too. Okay, yeah, let's focus on that. But that, and baptize them, hadn't even really considered. And I'm like, you know what, you're absolutely right. So when he got out of jail, we actually took him out to a local lake. Out there in the open, out there in the community, not tucked away in some church building, not hidden in somebody's house, but out there in the open, in the world. That light, that this incredible and incredibly rare thing where somebody would choose to say, I'm a worthless sinner. I don't deserve any of this, but I'm going to choose to show my allegiance with my Creator and Redeemer. So we did it out there in the open. I also remember once taking another brother and we baptized him in a river, but we show up at this place at the river to baptize him, and there's two guys fishing for walleyes. And, they're casting out and their lines are going downstream, and I'm like, hey, we brought this guy down here. He's a new believer in Jesus Christ, and he wants to be baptized. Like, do you care if we just head up, couple feet, couple yards, whatever, to the side over here and baptize them. And they're like, no, that's fine. It doesn't interrupt our fishing. I said, okay. So we did it there in front of, 2 fishermen. Now, was that the world? Tell you what, there's more fishermen that are fishing, in the church. So it was an opportunity for us to have something be out there on a public display. It's not that we always need to be drawing attention to ourselves or to, say, hey, look at me type thing. But it's an opportunity to make the world think. How many people who don't go to church other than maybe weddings and funerals, see somebody baptized ever? For the most part, there's not a lot of them. And if I consider that in different countries, people cut holes in the ice to be baptized. You know what I mean? They choose to get baptized out in the open sometimes under penalty of death. And here we just kind of take that little candle and we just hide it under a bushel, and we'll spend, God's money, what people are giving to the church, and we'll buy an extra, little pool or whatever and put it up there behind the backdrop of the pulpit. And, maybe we'll have a little cloth that we can raise, and then we can have people show up back there and, do this hidden little secret ceremony. It's not what Christianity is supposed to be about. This isn't a secret club. Okay? So anyway, there's a lot more that goes into this passage, and I don't exactly even think this is what, it can apply. But this is not even what the passage is about. But it's something to think as we consider exactly how we have this light, which is the life that we're living, and the good works that we're going to do, the steps of obedience, which He ordained for us before the creation of the world, that we should walk in them and do them as a way to say thank you to Him for all He's done for us. And let it be on a certain level of display for the actual world to see. Anyway, what do you think about this? Am I way off subject on this, or does this make sense? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Be blessed. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.